Well, another week of NBA basketball has passed us by, and it was a good one. This year's Christmas slate was one of the best in recent memory. Each game was filled with excitement and came, pretty much, right down to the wire. Though it's never fair to judge any team based on one game. We did see some movement as a result of play on Jesus' birthday. I don't think we can call the Rockets no. one any longer. We need to pay very close attention to the Thunder. And the Knicks' win over the Celtics might be more indicative of Boston's fall than New York's rise. How's everything shaking out after the unofficial start of the season? Let's have a look. Why don't we? 30. Atlanta Hawks. 825. Last week. 30. Quavo should coach the Hawks. Obviously he's a great motivator. He told me last night on the phone, "You've got to get 30 points when I'm coming." Single quote. Find out who set the point quota and ended up with Dennis Schroeder's jersey pick. Twitter.com, RAD2TMRA3T Fox Sports. Hawks, at Hawksons. December 24th, 2017. 29. Memphis Grizzlies. 10-23. Last week. 27. Why haven't the Grizzlies ruled Mike Conley out for the season yet? 28. Orlando Magic. 11-23. Last week. 25. There is no reason Mario Hezonja should be playing fewer than 30 minutes in a given game. We, and the Magic, need to fix this. 27. Phoenix Suns. 12-23. Last week. 29. That might be a while. Book. No offense. We need a Christmas game at NBA Devin Booker. At Devin Book. December 26th, 2017. 26. Dallas Mavericks. 925. Last week. 28. For 4 games, at least. Harrison Barnes has looked like a guy who can have his own team. Yeah? This was supposed to be his team. If you'd forgotten. 25. Chicago Bulls. 10-22. Last week. 26. Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic are kind of amazing together. Whatever Portis was mad about when he broke his face, it seemed to actually help the pairing. 24. Brooklyn Nets. 12-20. Last week. 22. The Nets deserve Spencer Dinwiddie. They've taken chances on the right players over the past couple years. Jahlil Okafor could be next in line. 22. Utah Jazz. 15-19. Last week. 20. Fractured locker room. I really wanted to leave you sitting there, Joe Ingles. At Joe Ingles 7. December 22nd, 2017. 23. Los Angeles Lakers. 11-21. Last week. 23. Only need 2 tweets for this one. Luke Walton, who wants to take the last second 3. KCP. Pick. Twitter.com, LC3JMG Bab 5 Sol. Adarelino Sol. December 24th, 2017. Kyle Kuzma is the first Lakers rookie with 3 30-point games since Magic Johnson. 4 in 1979-80. ESPN Stats and Info. At Stats Info. December 26th, 2017. 21. Sacramento Kings. 11-21. Last week. 24. You're not going to find a more fun, interesting bad team than this one. If De'Aaron Fox didn't get hurt, they might have had a big win this week. They'll come. 20. Charlotte Hornets. 12-21. Last week. 21. Feels a little early to send Monk down. No. Or is this going to become normal with the new G League? The Hornets say they have assigned rookies Malik Monk and Dwayne Bacon to the G League Greensboro Swarm. Mark J. Spears. At Mark Spears Suspend. December 26th, 2017. 19. L.A. Clippers. 13-19. Last week. 19. Austin Rivers is the first Clipper to score at least 35 in back-to-back games since Blake Griffin. In 2014, He's the first Clipper guard to do it since Ron Harper in 1989. And he's 25. And he's Austin Rivers, 18. Philadelphia 76ers, 15-18. Last week, 16. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This team really shows its youth late in close games. They went 4 straight possessions with a turnover in the final minutes on Christmas. That might hold them back as the season wears on. 17. New Orleans Pelicans, 17-16. Last week, 17. For the longest time now, the Pelicans have been stuck right here in the middle. They're not bad, but they're also not very good. Maybe they just need to get everyone playing well at the same time to rise out of mediocrity. Just as Rondo disappeared, Etwan Moore and Ian Clark began to turn it up. I think they're capable of being good. 16. Miami Heat, 17-16. Last week, 14. I feel like a lot of people took this play for granted. Not sure how this finish is possible. 15. Milwaukee Bucks, 17-14. Last week, 15. As we saw in that loss to Charlotte, there isn't much on this team aside from Giannis. Even in their wins, there are several unspectacular performances from the regulars. 14. Portland Trailblazers, 17-16. Last week, 9. I think the Blazers' only win against a good team came when they beat the Heat a couple weeks ago. Aside from that, do Denver and OKC at the beginning of the year count? Maybe the Knicks and Wizards. They had a chance to pick up a couple big ones this week. And I'm still waiting on the team-defining one. At least Shabazz Napier looks like a player now. 13. Denver Nuggets, 18-15. Last week, 18. Did it take the Warriors having, their worst defensive game in years for Denver to pick up its biggest win of the year? Maybe. Do I care? Nope. Wilson Chandler is beginning to look like 6th Man of the Year candidate Wilson Chandler, who made an appearance in our lives last season. 12. Washington Wizards, 19-15. Last week, 12. Last May, in Game 7 of the East semifinals, Scott Brooks didn't play Kelly Oubre a single minute because he didn't trust him enough. On Christmas, he was a leading factor in Washington's wins. He's made giant strides and I am really starting to love him. 11. Indiana Pacers, 19-14. Last week, 10. Indiana had the league's 3rd best defensive rating this past week. The Victor Oladipo breakout season is so real. Seriously, though, as long as his supporting cast continues to shoot this well, Oladipo will carry the Pacers far. I've long believed Bojan Bogdanovic could be an impact player. Perhaps he wins an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor this season. Actually, Miles Turner will probably win. 10. New York Knicks, 17-15. Last week, 8. It was so evident on Christmas that Enes Kanter is the second most important player on this team. As long as Kristaps Porzingis struggles a bit to rebound, they need him out there. 9. Detroit Pistons, 18-14. Last week, 7. The Knicks were right to want Reggie Bullock back in 2014 when they tried to trade Iman Shumpert and Ray Felton for Darren Collison. Who knew? 8. Minnesota Timberwolves, 2,113. Last week, 10. Taj Gibson hit a gut punch 3 on Christmas. Taj Gibson. This team is clicking on all cylinders right now. 7. Oklahoma City Thunder, 19-15. Last week, 13. Oklahoma City is actually playing defense now and sharing the ball, which is just a beautiful thing. I never thought a team with post-Nuggets Carmelo Anthony was capable of this. 6. The Boston Celtics, 2,710. Last week, 4. Seems the two things that helped Boston skyrocket to the top of the power rankings, defense, rebounding and discipline, have fallen by the wayside. These guys aren't too scary right now. 5. San Antonio Spurs, 2,311. Last week. 6. The Spurs' defense remained elite last week. 98. 6 points allowed per 100 possessions. Good for third in the league, which was more than enough to overcome some rough offensive showings. Once Kawhi returns to full health, there is no doubt this team will enter the conversation for No. 1. 4. Toronto Raptors. 238. Last week. 5. Toronto had the league's No. 2 defensive rating over the past week, and Serge Ibaka is averaging 18.4 points in December. Defense plus players other than Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan equals many wins. 3. Cleveland Cavaliers. 2,410. Last week. 2. In what seems like the blink of an eye, Tristan Thompson's gone from max player to Roy Hibbert. Nice to see him get some big minutes on Christmas, I guess. 2. Houston Rockets. 257. Last week. 1. Wanted to put them No. 1 for this pass alone, but I can't. Without Chris Paul, it's clear this team isn't the same on defense. I mean, they gave up 128 points to the Clippers. Perhaps more Briante Weber is the answer. How do you explain this pass pick? Twitter. A3 or B Kenny Dussey. At Kenny Dussey. December 26, 2017. 1. Golden State Warriors. 277. Last week. 3. Has Kevin Durant become a defensive juggernaut? Or is he just now getting all the calls LeBron's been getting for over a decade? To me this foul was egregious. Egregious. Even my father will complain the whole game that players complained about no calls, too much thought. It was bad. Even without Steph Curry, who I've been told is still a top 5 player in the league. We can have this conversation another time. This team continues to play well, after proving to be better than Cleveland. They're next in line for the top spot.